Hey guys, this is Wendy with Debt Deliverance. Thanks for joining me today. Today I'm going to do a quick rundown of the entire plan that my husband and I are using to get out of debt. This will be the second time for us. We are not in nearly as much debt as the first time. We paid off $52,000 in 2.5 years. We finished up in 2017. We had a couple medical issues and our daughter's wedding, and so we decided to just go right back through our program and get this debt knocked out. I do want to share with you. I read a book, and that's partially what got me started on why would I want to start a YouTube channel and why would I want to share so many details with so many people that I don't even know. Well, I'm hoping that our journey will somehow help you guys if you're wanting to reduce your debt or eliminate your debt. If you have no debt, we can also talk about ways to live after your debt is gone, because we were obviously not properly prepared for that, but I'm working on that as we speak. So recently, probably about a month ago, I saw this book, and it is called The Mount of Olives, and it's by Michael Ivanov, Ivanov. It was highly recommended. It came over my Facebook feed, and it said that this book would change your life. And it's about a young Roman boy who actually is mute. He cannot speak. And his parents had left him at an orphanage. And because of the way the people in the village made him feel, and the way he felt that he did not measure up to other people, that he could really not be anything in life. And this, under the title, it says 11 Declarations to an Extraordinary Life. So basically, there is a man that he meets. He goes on a journey, and the man that he meets changes his life in the things that he teaches him. And another man that he meets ends up also profoundly changing his life through healing. And this book has just sparked in me just so many things that I have been seeking for the past couple years. They're all in here, and it's kind of got me back on track, and I wanted to share that with you. As you can see, it's not very thick, but you will drink up every single chapter in this book. And if I'm not mistaken, it was about $10 to $12 on Amazon. So here again, The Mount of Olives. If you're interested, I highly recommend. It's an easy read, and it's very, very thought-provoking and life-changing. So they were right when they said that that book would change your life. So what I did today was I took several different things that I want to talk about, and I thought I would make it really simple. So I took some cardstock paper and I wrote it on there so you could see, and so that this won't be so lengthy for you. If you're taking notes, maybe it will be easy for you. But so what do you need whenever you realize you have that aha moment, that moment when you are absolutely sick of your debt, or that moment when you say, hey, we've got too much debt, we've got to do something about it? Well, you need a plan. So for me, obviously I told you in the past I'm very ADHD. I'm great about making plans, not so good about seeing those through. So I really had to work my plan. But I wrote this out for you so you can see it. So you need a plan. First, you need an emergency savings account. We talked about that. Other programs talk about that being $1,000. We feel like we want it to be at $1,500, and then we're going to slowly work on that to get it to $2,500. But we're not going to keep that from keeping us to get our debt paid off. That's something that we're working at on the side. So under the emergency savings, I have bank accounts. So I had spoke in previous videos that we have 4 bank accounts. One is a backup spending account with the balance of $500. One is for our bill account. It's a checking account and it's for our bills only. One is a short-term emergency savings, which is what I'm talking about there in number one, and two is long-term savings, and you want that to be an unlimited balance. The second thing is you need to choose your debt payoff plan, and I'm going to go over a few examples of what those are after this slide. And three, with that plan, you're going to create a budget. And in that budget, obviously, is your income, but two is your bills, and three is your spending money. And again, I have a previous video that explains to you all how my husband and I divide our spending money and how we manage that. Your spending money can be the key component to the entire plan, because if you overspend that spending money, you're going to fail every time. And four, that something else I pay attention to is my menus and my grocery list. And groceries are a part of my spending money. So it's very important that I have a menu and I stick to that, and I make sure we do eat that food, and that I'm always striving that we do not waste food, and that we're putting the food into the freezer for the future. So those things are very important. Now I'm going to go over just a few examples of plans. And why am I doing this? Because other payoff programs or financial assistance programs or financial education, whatever you want to call it, they may have they may call it their baby steps or their steps to pay off your debt. But honestly, everybody's journey is significant or unique to them. It's your journey how you do this. And that's why I don't want to push the way that my husband and I did this in the past or the way we're doing it now down your throat at all. I want to show you that you have options. This is your financial story, and you need to write that any way that it fits your life. The main thing is that you are here and you are interested in reducing or eliminating your debt, and that is a great accomplishment. So Plan A that I'll show you is an example of the debt snowball method, and I just listed 5 bills here and some balances out here. And what I'm saying is that the debt snowball plan is you pay off the first bill first, and whatever you are using to pay that bill off, you roll it in to whatever payment you would make on your second bill. You add it to it until it's paid off, and you continue to do that all the way down to the list of your bills from the smallest balance to the largest balance until all your bills are paid off. That is known as the debt snowball plan. Okay, the next plan is Plan B, and this is how my husband and I paid our bills off the first time that we went through this program. We got our first 3 low balance bills paid off first. So we knocked those out pretty quickly, and we made sure that we celebrated that to keep us on track. And then we took the next few bills, and I had the balances written down, and I divided those balances in a way that once we paid the first one off, the second one would be paid off the next month, the third one the next month, and continually after that. So we would have a reason to celebrate each month. Now let me make something clear about this plan. My husband and I were both working fairly high-paying jobs at the time, which was basically burning me out, and a lot of the reason that we went on the plan to begin with. So we had the resources to add quite a bit to our payments so that we could pay these off in sequential months. That may not be the case for you. And I'll be honest, that's not the case for us now. So we are not doing this plan. I will show you the plan that we're doing. But I did this to keep me engaged and excited because basically, again, I'm ADHD. It takes a lot to keep me engaged. And working the way I was working, I was so highly stressed out that it was very easy for me to throw my hands up and just quit. And I knew that I could not do that. So, this is the plan that we're using this time. So I had shared in a previous video that we did knock out our first 3 bills. The balances were pretty small, and we knocked those out fairly quickly. The second bill is going to take us a little longer, and here's our balance. And we are shooting to have that bill paid off by the end of December. But we are open to the fact that if that doesn't happen, we can go into the next year and get that bill paid off. And we'll move right on to bill number 5 and 6. So 5 and 6 together, I don't have the balances on here, but 5 and 6 together are going to take us the next 12 months to pay off. And that's okay. Once we have those paid off, we will be through the debt elimination journey, and then we'll move on from there. But before we talk about that, I'd like to show you Plan D. Plan D is your plan. And I really want to stress to you again that this is your financial story. You can put these bills in any order that you want to put them in to pay them off. And some of the things that you want to consider other than the small balance to the large balance is which bills are costing you the most interest, because in the long run they will cost you the most to pay off. Maybe there's a medical bill that's been placed with an outside agency and it's not affecting your credit at all, and you're paying no interest. And if that's the case, I would let that just run right through the whole plan, no matter what the balance is. So, for instance, if you're paying $50 a month on that bill, but it's costing you no interest, I would not stop and knock that bill out before a high interest credit card. I would just pay that $50 a month and let that ride until the end, because that's not costing you anything other than paying the bill off. So there's an example. How can you achieve all these goals that we've talked about? Well, number one, I had to have a 1, 2, 3 step. And so here's my steps. First, I made sure that the emergency savings account balance was where we wanted it to be, so that we would feel somewhat secure in our debt elimination journey. The second thing is, like I've said, you have absolutely got to manage your spending money. If you do not manage your spending money, you're either going to not have money to pay your bills, or you're going to increase your debt because you're going to use your credit cards. I do have a video on how to manage your spending money, and I suggest that you go out and look at that if you haven't already. The next is create those menus and stick to that grocery list. Make sure that you eat that food and you do not waste it. And the last thing is simply pay those bills. Get those bills paid. Get that enormous weight off your shoulders so you can achieve success. Okay, what if you don't have enough money to pay your bills? Okay, so I'm going to pause there and tell you that there was a time whenever my children were small, and my husband and I were both working very hard, and raising children is not an easy task financially. There was a time when we had either not enough money to pay our bills, or where nothing could go wrong because we barely had enough money to pay our bills. One of the things I did whenever we didn't have enough money to pay our bills is I got a part-time job for a temporary period of time. And you might want to think about that, the ways that you can create other streams of income to get you through. And I remember when we were in the situation where nothing could go wrong, or if we did get money saved up, something always went wrong. Again, in those situations, you have to look at your income streams. You have to step up, whether it is through just a temporary period of time till you can get some things paid off, or if it needs to be a part-time job for a little while to get you through. But the only place to look is your income and how you can increase that. And then when you do, is be responsible and manage that money well. Don't let the stress of life let you just go blow it to the wind, or it will be no good for you to put your effort in on that. So also, if you're in a situation where you really just don't have enough at the end of the month, you feel like you've managed things well and you've looked at everything and there's nothing else you can do, there is credit counseling agencies, and there are also bankruptcy attorneys, and I would definitely look into both of those, if for no other reason than to gain knowledge as to how you should go and proceed in the future. And again, I have down here that you need to look at ways to increase your income, which I already did explain that to you, but that was at the bottom. So look at ways to increase your income. So once you have no bills and you just have your home and utilities, well, there is more to this journey than owing on your home. You can also go on a journey of paying your home off early. But let's say you're at the point where you still owe on your home, and you owe your home and your utilities. Then what our goal is going to be is to live off of 70% of the money that we make. 10% to contributions, 10% to short-term savings, and 10% to long-term savings. That short-term savings, we want to get that balance up to $24,000 a year, because that will cover our expense. We want to get that balance up to $24,000. I didn't say that right. We want to get that balance in that short-term emergency account to $24,000. And that will cover our expenses for a year if something happened to one of us. Once we do that, we would build our long-term savings and our 401k. And that gets us long-term savings. You can have that at an unlimited balance. 401k is a no-brainer because you get breaks taxes-wise to build your 401k. So we will be doing that next. And that looks like that brings me to the end. So I would appreciate it if you would subscribe to my YouTube channel, Debt Deliverance. I really appreciate that, and I hope that something that I've shared with you today takes you through this program and helps you make your own decisions over what your financial story of debt elimination and reduction is. And if anything that I ever share with you helps you, I would love to hear that in the comments below. And if you have questions, please also put those in the comments. Thank you so much and have a great day.